Ohio State just won the 2025 national championship.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We've now had 11 years worth of the college football playoffs.
Yep.
So we have 11 national champions. And we want to rank them all.
Yeah.
So this is the all-time teams ranking from the national champions of the college football playoff era. So there's 11 teams to choose from. Each of us ranked them. And when we talk about the team, like this Ohio State team, it will be the 2024 Ohio State team that won in 2025.
Yeah.
So you don't get it confused. Because I know the seasons overlap, obviously, the Natties and just after the New Year or on New Year's for a lot of these older playoffs. Yeah. And it'll kind of get confusing when you're talking about 2018 versus 2019, 2020, whatever. So talk about the year the team played, and you can say they won in the following year. But we're going to start with number one. I want to go around the table and say who is the best college football playoff national champion team ever assembled. Mario, I want to start with you. Who do you have at your number one spot?
I mean, I feel like it's a little obvious, but at number one, I'm going to have the best team of all time, the greatest team I've ever seen play football. It is the 2019 LSU team.
Wow.
This team.
Shocker.
Yeah, no surprise here. I wrote up a little thing about them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the greatest season of football I've ever watched from the purple and gold. Perfect season, 15-0. Most points ever scored in a single season by a team.
732 or something?
Yep.
Right?
Well, Mike knows the number.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah. Offense led by Joe Burrow, who at the time threw for the most passing touchdowns ever in a single season, and is still the only player to ever have over 6,000 total yards in a single season.
Heisman.
Our team that year won the Heisman: Maxwell, Walter Camp, Davey O'Brien, Belindikoff, Jim Thorpe, AP Coach of the Year, and Assistant Coach of the Year. We never trailed in the fourth quarter. Only time we trailed by double digits in the entire season was to Clemson and
In the Natty.
Yeah, in the Natty.
That final score didn't look too pretty for us.
Yeah, no, we then outscored them 35-8. We beat 7 top 10 teams in a single season, most ever. 4 of them being ranked in the top 5. 2 of those games were on the road for Bama and Bama and Georgia. That season.
Yeah, you definitely weren't on the road for the Natty.
No, we weren't on the road.
That shit was played in New Orleans.
Hey, I don't choose.
I was there.
That season, naming some teams that were ranked in the top 10. Clemson, Bama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Florida all went a combined 60-4 against everyone else. LSU beat them all by an average of 3 touchdowns every game.
Yeah.
Pretty good team.
No, that team was that. I'd be shocked if anyone has them outside of their top 3. That was definitely. I think the players drafted. I don't know if you gave that stat, but I think it was like 18 players.
I think it was 17
on both sides. On the out of your starting 22.
I think Georgia's number one.
Yeah, Georgia's number one.
No, I don't
16
think. I don't think it was just in that one draft though. I think it was on that national championship team. I think it was like all of the starters except for like 3 or 4.
Yeah, because like
which is crazy.
Stingley was on.
No,
that
I'm saying
team.
out of those 2 starting units, the 22 starting players on the team, I think like 17 or 18 of them went pro, which is I think was one of the most all time. Mike, who do you have as your number one?
Well, not to be too redundant, but I actually also have the 2019 LSU Tigers. That team with Heisman winner Joe Burrow going to Jamar Chase was unreal.
And Justin Jefferson.
And Justin Jefferson, also unreal. But yeah, similarly to what Mario said, 732 points offense the entire year, which is, I mean, a number that I can't even fathom over a, 14 game season?
15 game season.
15 game season. But still, I mean, unreal. I think they deserve all the praise historically that they've already received and will continue to receive. So I actually have them as my number one overall college football team.
Wow. Yeah. No surprise coming from me either. And this is a point I would hang my hat on very solidly, is that the 2018 Clemson team is the best team of all time. Also have some numbers I want to throw around. I think the 2019 LSU team was for sure the best offense ever. Mm-hmm. And I would have loved to see the defense we had in 2018 play your offense in 2019, because I think this was the best defense in college football history. It was the lowest points per game in the entire league. It was the lowest yards per rush in a season in like 2 decades, with 2 yards per rush that we allowed the opponents. We had 4 first-team All-Americans on the defensive line, which is never done in Clemson history before. Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence. 5 players on our starting defense that next year went in the first round of the NFL draft. Cleveland Farrell, 4 overall, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Isaiah Simmons, and AJ Terrell. And then on the flip side of the ball, you had Trevor Lawrence, the 5-star freshman quarterback, throwing to T. Higgins, handing off the ball to Travis Etienne with 4 pro players on the offensive line. I think this was the most complete team we've seen in this college football playoff era. And we weren't even ranked the 1 team going into it. It was the undefeated Alabama Crimson Tide against the undefeated Clemson Tigers, the 1 and 2 teams. Clemson was actually the underdogs going into the game. Tua and that Bama team were on fire, and we beat them 44-16. It was one of the most dominant national championship performances ever. Absolutely stomped on them. Ever since Trevor took over 4 games into the season, we really didn't have many close games besides the Syracuse game where he got hurt and Chase Bryce came in and led a game-winning drive when Trevor wasn't even playing. So, I mean, this team, I think, has everything. It was the first ever 15-0 team also. No team had ever done that before. So I think the 2018 Clemson team that beat undefeated Bama is the best team of all time.
Yeah,
I'm also biased because I was there for that championship.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Great time to be there.
Great time to be
Great time to be alive.
I had to throw that in.
live right there. Mine was close, like really close on number 2. We won't give it away yet, but number 1 will be LSU for me. The 2019
3 versus 1.
only because I don't think their defense was good. I mean, they had a lot of close games and they had a lot of 40-point games they gave up to certain teams, but their offense was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was the best. It was the best offense.
unreal.
And for me,
The most explosive offense of all
the
time.
way they proved it to me, they won games like 66-41, 46-41. Like, when you have that offense, I don't care what your defense is. I really don't care because they proved every time that they were the best, even in whatever game. I mean, they played Oklahoma, the Lincoln Riley OG Oklahoma. And yeah, Oklahoma was balling to start, beat them by 40. They played Clemson to start, a little slow, beat them by 20 or whatever it was. So like
42-25.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think that offense was so good that I really don't care about the rest of the team. I know
49 points per game.
No, I mean, it was unbelievable. And I just think, regardless of maybe if you factor in because their defense, I know you're saying your defense was by far the standard. I mean, I've never seen anything
Especially
like it.
that D line.
It was the 4 on the D line.
That's the best D line.
No, I'm
with
saying,
Isaiah
yeah.
Simmons.
That's all you need. But even with that,
Derrick
I think
Henry.
no matter what, if your offense is what LSU was, and I mean, that was the most unrealistic thing I've ever
For
seen.
sure. I wish
And
I
now,
could've seen that.
not only and it's not even just in college. Now that we see it now, we have the wide receiver 1 and 2 in the league.
No, they translated better than any
So I'm
team.
saying it was more of like, okay,
And
we
most
were
pass yards
we were
thrown
all
in
right.
the NFL.
We were just
Yeah,
right. You know
for
what
sure.
I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it just is fair to.
All right, well,
to rank
I'm
them.
outnumbered 3-1. Go ahead and Ryan, give us your number 2 team. We'll go back around
Yeah.
for the number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 actually is 2020 Alabama.
Wow.
Sickening because
13-0
yeah, 13-0
because COVID year.
Yeah, COVID year. I just think in this COVID year, I know a lot of weird things happen. They won every single game they played by like 15 points. We were in a blowout every single game. They played one bad game against Florida where they were up by 25 and kind of like let them back in. Personally, I think it was a murder. Didn't really count by anything. They killed Notre Dame. They killed Ohio State in the playoffs.
It was the Devontae
Devontae
Smith year, right?
Heisman. Their defense was unbelievable. They had 1 million draft picks. I just think they flew through the league so easily. I've never seen a team never have a slowdown. Like even like I know I put Joe Burrow, LSU's favorite team. They still played Alabama 1-score game, Auburn 1-score game, Georgia 1-score game. Like all these teams that were kind of closer. This team never was even close by a mile, and even when they played what I thought Ohio State was going to be really good, I mean, we threw everything at them. We were scoring in the first half, and no matter what we did, they adjusted and killed us. So I just thought this team was unbelievable, and for me personally, if you run through a season like this, and I just think it was just such an amazing feat personally. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that team was awesome. I have them high on my list. I'm not going to take too long. If I got 2019 LSU, it was really close between that team and the 2018 Clemson team. Like I said, I really wish I could have seen these two teams play.
Yeah.
Because you saw them play the next year, but it was similar offense, but a completely different defense. We were out like 7 defensive players. So, yeah, I think that 2019 LSU team was excellent, and I got them at 2.
All right, so this is a little bit of a deeper pull, but stay with me here. I'm going to go with the 2005 Texas Longhorns.
Okay.
Okay.
It's only college football playoff teams
You said within the Oh, my God.
within the playoff era.
Oh.
We're not picking teams.
And
from-
even then, that pull is crazy.
I mean, you know.
Go ahead and give a quick spiel, but then if you want to maybe give a number 2 that's in the realm of
What if he has 2011,
what we're talking about?
2009,
Like we're not talking about the
2005?
Reggie Bush USC teams, or you know what I mean, or the Bear Bryant Auburn.
Wait, so how
teams.
long is your list if you take out everything before 2014?
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
But all right.
shout
Well,
out.
regardless, the number 2 would be Clemson. 2018
All right.
Clemson.
Fair enough. Mario.
So originally I wrote at number 2, 2020 Bama, and I had 2018 Clemson at number 3. But after just kind of realizing that I fucking hate Alabama,
It's pretty fair.
I'm gonna move Clemson 2018 number 2, baby.
We'll take it.
Because hey, they're still Tigers.
We'll take it.
So the Tigers at 1 and
Counts.
2 because Bama. Is 2020 Bama maybe better? Maybe they might be because they were that good. And if you talk about a star-studded offense, right behind LSU, I think that 2020 Bama
it's
offense
the most ridiculous.
is pretty ridiculous as well.
Yeah.
But Bama, always Bama. So Clemson 2018 number 2.
We'll take it.
Not
I'm
to
guessing
repeat. Yeah, you already did
for
your
number
spiel.
3, yeah. I'm
Number
guessing
3,
you
yeah,
have the
2020 Bama.
Yeah, I
That's
have
fair.
2020 Bama.
I mean, they
three
have
as
to be
well.
top
2020
3. So.
Bama.
Michael Asma as well. Who do you have as your 3 then
Oh,
to round out the top 3?
this was real tough. But I'm not going to. I'll get Clemson in there.
All right,
No, Clemson's 3. I was going to sneak in myself.
So there's our top 3s. Then I kind of want to go to individual lists, and I know
Yeah.
Mike, yours might be kind of skewed. Literally read whatever you have. You can go last year.
Sure.
But no, just like his list will be a little different because it's outside the college football playoff era. But I still want to hear your takes on those different teams. Ryan, do you want to go ahead and read us off the rest of your list? I'm really interested to see where you have the 2 Ohio State national champions.
Yeah.
Both not in your top 3, which is respectable. No homer bias.
I'm not. But right in there at 4, 2024 Ohio
Wow,
State.
there it is.
Personally, I just think, okay, so if we're talking about, I know you could, in certain points of the season, we could talk about things happen. When we were hosting that trophy, I think we were one of the best teams of all time. I just think we're in the 4 range. When we had a perfectly balanced team, we had an offense that was humming. I mean, there was no holes in our offense. Our defense was the best in the country and one of the best of all times, just rating wise, points per game, yards per game, everything. And they were just extremely clutch. We never really had anything. We had the hardest stretch of games ever seen, in my opinion, especially for a playoff format. We had an unbelievable comeback turnaround. I know the season was a little rough. I just do it, like I said, when I'm holding that trophy, like for every one of our teams, who was the best team on the field, I think we can compete with anyone. Our defense was unbelievable. Will Howard was great. Our offense was perfect. We had scored 30 points a game in the playoff run, 40 in the regular season. So I just think, personally speaking, I would put Ohio State at 4 just for my thing. And then I go run off the Georgias for me. The 2022 Georgia first,
Fair.
Yeah.
for my opinion.
The,
And then-
the undefeated Georgia team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then personally, I'm just 2021 Georgia right behind them because they were such an oiled machine. They were a dynasty. I mean, it felt like it was going to be one of the things for a while.
I'm with you.
Coming. So I just ran back to back those 2. Nothing really to say. They actually had the scary. Like, I know Ohio State had a great defense and Clemson had a great
Man,
defense.
that defense.
Georgia was actually almost scared to walk into. People were afraid to play that defense.
I mean,
And-
TCU
Deservingly.
lost by in
mean, it was
2022.
No, it was
TCU.
56 points.
No, we know. And it hurts me every day because that should have been us.
They beat
winning by
Michigan,
56.
Like,
That's true.
TCU didn't sneak in there. They beat Michigan.
No,
in
it's
the
it's
semis.
interesting. Close. My third to last theoretically is 2023 Michigan. Nothing crazy personally. I just think that they were a good solid team. They had an identity that worked. It was a sweat against Bama. Should they have beat them? They came back on a last-second drive.
Lowest undefeated team in your rankings.
Correct.
They're
yeah.
15.
They were perfect
lowest-
season. For sure, lowest undefeated.
Lowest
Ohio
undefeated
State like
team.
2 losses and was
Yeah.
my 4.
Gotcha.
But Michigan, they just, for me, they got lucky against Bama on a really amazing J.J. McCarthy
Overtime.
drive that pushed them into overtime. And they were just never dominant. They did their job. They had one of the best defenses in the country. Nothing of all time, nothing crazy. Their offenses were all right. They just had an identity, and for some reason, no one can get through it. Hats to them. I mean, they're high. They're one of the best teams of all time, college football or playoff rankings. So, I mean, also I hate Michigan, so that's why they're probably
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
My next one is 2016 Clemson. Personally, I just think...
Shout out Hunter Renfro.
Yeah, shout out Hunter Renfro for the walk-off. They played a lot of terrible ACC teams, and they barely snuck out. I think it was like Louisville, NC State.
Louisville that year was insane.
None of them were ranked.
I
at
mean,
the
they
end
had
of the
Lamar
year.
Jackson.
No, but no. I'm saying Louisville check off, but they weren't ranked at the end of the year. So say how you want it. NC State wasn't ranked at the end of the year. Say how you want it. Florida State wasn't ranked at the end of the year. So like all these teams that they had 1-score games with weren't that great. And personally, you played Pitt in the ACC championship.
Was Louisville not ranked at the end of the year? I
No,
gotta look it up.
I checked it
Wow,
all
that
of that.
surprises me.
You played Pitt in the AC championship. You won 52-10 or something. Whatever. It was the only one that was like a championship that was just bad. First ever. Like, what are we doing here? And that it just team. They won the Natty by. They weren't the most dominant team in the league. They barely won it on the last second play.
That was back-to-back seasons, not to hijack it. I agree this isn't one of the best teams of all time, but I was saying they had basically the same Natty 2 years in a row. It was Bama Clemson. Bama wins at the end of the game. It was back and forth game, and then the next year Clemson won. It was just kind of a back and forth flip.
I agree.
2015 Bama, 2016 Clemson.
Yeah, and then my next one was 2015.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have to be like right there.
No, yeah, just nothing crazy impressive. They were just well coached. Won big games of big moments. Nothing really crazy. Yeah, no, yeah. That team, like I said, it wasn't anything like on paper the craziest thing, but it was the Bama. It's the old Bama legacy, how we remember it. How they're always going to be in it. They're always one of the top 2 teams, and they just won at the end. An amazing game. I mean, crazy game against Clemson. And then my last team is Ohio State, 2014. Really nothing to it here.
Yeah, I think 2017 Bama. I don't think you ranked them 13-1.
Oh, they would be
when they lost the SEC and then beat Georgia.
Yeah, they would be. Yeah, they'd probably be second to last. Nothing impressive.
Gotcha.
They lost SEC, and I mean, it was nothing crazy. But my last one was Ohio State. That team was so overhyped by the fact that Zeke was the greatest player in college football at the moment. I mean, he had like 8 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah.
They got a backup quarterback. They weren't even supposed to be in the Final Four. The only reason we got lucky to get in the Final Four was because Cardale Jones beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship 9-0, and we got barely in. And then we played an insane game against Oregon and same game against Bama. So nothing really crazy there. We kind of got lucky that Zeke was there, but like Cardale Jones, Michael Thomas was kind of a wide receiver 2 on the team. Our defense was all right. So I think we're the worst. The first championship is the worst champion.
And then you put yourself at 4 for this last season.
Yes, 4 last season.
Gotcha.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job of diving into each of those teams and their seasons. So I don't want to repeat a whole lot, but I'll kind of touch on why I have certain teams ranked certain places. To recap, I have 2018 Clemson, 2019 LSU, and 2020 Bama. You'll notice a streak there. I think that was the 3 best teams we've ever seen in college football. It was 3 straight years of the first undefeated champions ever. It went first undefeated champion, second undefeated champion, third undefeated champion. All those teams absolutely stacked, and they're in a row for me. I then have the 2 Georgias, like Ryan said, at 4 and 5. 2022 Georgia at 4, 15-0. 2021 Georgia at 14-1 at the 5 spot. Like Ryan said, this is a dynasty. They were better in the second year than the first year, but when they played in the championship that first year, they were extremely good as well. So I think that Georgia run is something that will stick out in college football history as a really, really, really impressive 30 games of football those guys played. I then am pretty biased, but I have 2016 Clemson, Deshaun Watson team, 14-1 that beat Bama at my 6th spot. The only reason I have them that high is because I went to Clemson.
I was about to say.
And I really think the defense was good. It was very young at the time. The wide receivers were good. Mike Williams was a beast. But, in the scheme of things, this team probably doesn't stack up unbelievably well against some of these other teams. But I'm extremely biased, so that's where they are in my rankings. 7, I have 2015 Bama, 14-1 team. This team, I think, was actually one of the best overall rosters put together. The amount of pros you look back at this team, like a Reuben Foster and like just all these like all-world defensive players they have, and like their entire offensive line was damn near Pro Bowlers. This was like Nick Saban's heading into his prime of his career. Alabama starting their real dominant run. I think this is one of the teams that really kicked it off for them, and then they were the perennial preseason AP overall number 1 team for the next 6 seasons. So I think this 2015 Bama team is really, really impressive. I then have the 2 Ohio State teams, 2024 team at 8 overall, 13-2. I get your point around they're the best team. You're talking about the team in the playoffs or when they won the championship, how they looked. Yeah. But if we're going back in the season and talking about season performance, like you brought up, LSU beating Georgia by 1 score, or how the metrics for the season looked. I mean, they lost 2 games. They're the only national champion.
Also, we beat Georgia. We blew them out.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Bama was 1 score, but we were up by 24.
It might have been Bama.
It was Bama, Auburn, and one other team.
Okay, yeah.
Auburn was the closest game.
But what I meant was this is the only 2-loss team in the history of the college football playoff to win the championship. Obviously, it's extenuating circumstances. They did have to go a crazy gauntlet of a route. I'm not discounting that. I think it's a fair spot, like the 8th overall team. I think if they probably don't lose to Michigan and something goes different in the Ohio State game, I think you're looking at this team a lot. I mean, in the Oregon game, you're looking at this team a lot differently. I think they'd be in that top 3 contention. But I just think in general, history will look back on a 2-loss team as having run the hardest playoff route, but as an overall season, probably not one of the best 3 or 4 seasons of all time. I have the 2014 Ohio State after that, just the first playoff winner. Some props to them. And then the 2 worst teams, I think, ever to win the College Football Playoff National Championship. 2017 Bama, 13-1. Didn't win the SEC, and in my opinion, didn't deserve to win the Natty. They won in overtime. A lot of questionable decisions at the end of the game. Obviously, a great ending. But I just don't put this team. I think this team should have had 2 losses. I don't put 2017 Bama up in very high regard. In the worst champion ever, Michigan, in my opinion. They beat a bad Bama team, a Bama team that honestly was not slated to make the playoffs. Beat Georgia again in the SEC championship by 2 points. Thought Georgia was probably the best team that year. Really weird playoff scenario where they won that Bama game in overtime, like you said, and then they got to play the winner of a Texas and Washington game. Like, I don't know. It didn't feel satisfying to me, so I got Michigan at my last spot. Mario.
All right. So, yeah, after the top 3, at number 4, 4 and 5 is back-to-back Georgia, but I have 2021 Georgia over the 2022 Georgia. So a little different there. I get that the 2022 Georgia had a better offense, but that 2021 Georgia, I mean, harder schedule and the best defense I've ever seen. Gave up 10 points per game.
No,
I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it just became a joke at that point, and you kept thinking, like, every hard matchup, like, oh, this is the game where, like, they get held to 17.
That defense,
like it was just ridiculous.
they're now the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles
exactly.
defense, by the way.
So that 2021 Georgia, that was the only reason I put them higher. And then I have the Georgia year,
The undefeated year after. Yeah.
under year after. So, and then at number 6, a little different here than Tyler. I actually have the 2017 Bama team. I get that they won with the walk-off to Devontae Smith. At the very end there, crazy ending. I just think that team, they are probably on this entire list, the youngest average age national championship. I mean, it was Tua freshman, Devontae Smith freshman, Jerry Jeudy freshman. I mean, their entire offense, Najee Harris freshman or sophomore, the entire team was so young.
It's an interesting point.
And for them to just go out and did what they did, and every big moment find a way to kind of pull through every time. It just, I hated it because I want Bama to lose always. And say what you will about Tua, NFL, he's been okay. But in college, man, he's one of the clutchest guys I've ever seen. So I have them at number 6. Right after, I have 27. At number 7, I have 2014 Ohio State. Dude, when you just talk about, aura.
Oh, they definitely had aura.
No. They're if we're going off just aura, they're top 5.
Oh, for sure.
No, everyone knew what they were going to do, and Zeke would just go for 245
every time.
And it was the coolest thing ever. And he would just be he was just better.
I can respect that.
And all year, it was cool too. The reason why I actually have him ranked so high is because that's a team where, just definition of an Urban Meyer team where you just know big game, they're just going to show up. They're just dogs. They had JT Barrett all season. And then he goes down. Cardell Jones steps up, and it's nothing but a thing. And they just go ball, and it's our squad versus your squad, and we're just better. I don't know. I fuck with that team heavy, so I got him in the right after. I have the 2024 Ohio State team. When you talk about aura, they would be low for me. They wouldn't be at the bottom, but they would be in the bottom half for me. They wouldn't be top 5.
You don't like do-rag Will Howard?
No, it was kind of cringe. They were a very balanced team. This year was just one of the more underwhelming just college football seasons as a whole. I think they're good. They're solid. I think 8's a fair spot. They're good, nothing crazy. Just solid.
That's where I had him as well.
So after that, I have 2016 Clemson. Another team that they'd probably be top 5 in aura as well. If you just Deshaun, that's all I gotta say. Just Deshaun, the way they won walk off,
That flipped the ball to the ref.
what's his name? Hunter Renfro. Yeah,
That's tough.
No, that was tough, and they beat Bama, so that was just biggest
Even
smile on
better.
my face. So I got them at number 9 right after. One of the most overrated teams, in my opinion, 2015 Bama. I know everyone here is a big fan of their quarterback that season.
Psych.
It was it Hawker?
Jake Coker.
Coker.
Yeah,
Coker.
yeah.
No one. I was so close.
No one
I knew.
fucking knows who he is.
I knew it was Jake.
because it didn't matter because they just run with
Yeah, it's-
Scarborough.
that's
And,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean this team's solid. I mean, everyone was okay. Nothing impressive
Mine
about
was
this
more
team.
of just an honor poll for like that. Really, that team kind of kickstarted.
But they were already national champions before that.
Yeah, but it
They
was
won
their
in-
first playoff championship.
Yeah, sure,
It wasn't the
sure.
BCS. That's yeah.
But they
I
were still-
understand.
yeah.
The team didn't have the
They
outstanding.
were already winning before. More impressive teams, in my opinion. And then at number 11, they would be bottom. They're bottom for me, just overall team, aura, impressiveness, the least like cool champion ever. And nothing against the university, but 2023 Michigan.
Yeah.
There's just nothing that does it for me. I think they would lose to every team I ranked above them.
I
So.
completely agree with that. Yeah, I like that list, Mario. I think it's
good
nice.
list.
I like the aura rankings.
I want
in
the
there.
aura
I didn't,
rankings next.
I didn't have
That's
any
a new
aura
vibe.
rankings in mind, but I agree Michigan would be last for all of them. Mike, I know you ranked your team slightly differently. If you want to expand on that, I know us three kind of gave all 11.
Yeah,
Go ahead
so
and walk us through.
I definitely misunderstood the assignment here. I thought the assignment was where does this 2024 Ohio State team rank in overall college football history? And so I went down and like made a list and tried to find where I would put them.
Okay.
It ends up being around that 8th spot of all time for me.
For
Every team
that-
ever?
Hey, I mean, look.
You like this Ohio State team.
Wow.
Ryan
Look,
Vega.
Ryan's got a
That's-
smile now.
Well,
He's
no,
like, yeah,
there's something about a team that like they got their 2 losses in their regular season, but then turning it onto a level that literally no one had thought was possible for that team, and then just literally dominating everybody else in the like all college football playoffs is insane to me. So it gives a big credit boost in that sense. But anyways, for my actual list, because I don't know, yeah, that's the reason why. I'm still gonna go with 2019 LSU. I'm then gonna go into 2020 or 2005 Texas Longhorns with Speed, USC in the Rose Bowl, one of the greatest national championships of all time. Vince Young coming back in the fourth quarter, defeating 2.
Any bias in that number 2?
No,
No
none
bias
at
at
all.
all.
None at
Bad
all.
team.
But I mean, it also
That's crazy.
that's not true. They scored on average 50 points a game and allowed less than 17 points on defense. And then they defeated Matt Leinart, who had won Heisman in 2003.
Reggie Bush
and then
won that
beat
too, right?
and then
Cheers, Brian.
Reggie Bush. No, it was the season before. And then Reggie Bush, his Heisman year is when they lost the national championship to us.
Because Reggie Bush won it in 2005.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I put them at number 2. Number 3, I put the 2018 Clemson Tigers
I'll
led by
take
T.
it
Law.
all time.
Number 4,
In my heart.
I have that 2004 where Matt Leinart actually won the Heisman USC Trojans, who ended up winning the national championship. I mean, Reggie Bush went unreal for that one as well. Number 5, I went Miami Hurricanes in 2001 with Ed
Can't believe
Reed.
that's number 5 for you.
Ed Reed and Sean
How
Taylor.
that's not like number 2.
I was going to say that team, talk about aura.
That's no
I-
aura,
okay,
greatest
okay.
defense I've ever seen.
Okay, Aura, they might be like maybe 1. But like
They are 1.
actual, maybe.
That's the most interesting college football team ever.
No, but like that defense of
Shout out
Matt-
Urban Meyer.
Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, just
Ray
electricity.
Lewis, Terrell Suggs.
I didn't
And then
think we were going to be
I don't
pulling 2001 college
Yeah,
stats
it's
up.
crazy.
And
No,
shit, but
yeah,
I love that
mistake.
Michael brought this up.
It was
I'll
a
talk
mistake, but-
2000s college football all day
No,
long.
It was a misunderstanding. but it was
2000
a great
Miami
one.
is insane.
Personal opinion. But then I was gonna
they
go. I would go 2020 Alabama at number 6. Which again, caveat because COVID, 13 wins, but still national championship, undefeated. And then I go 22 Georgia, undefeated national championship. And then 8 is the 2-loss Ohio State 2024.
Fair enough.
And so that's where I thought the
that's Mike's
conversation
list.
was going.
I respect-
Obviously, I misunderstood.
I
but-
respect the deep dive though. I like
I try.
throwing teams from the early 2000s in there. Those are the games we all wish we could see, right?
I try.
Like in reality, like if you could see, the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart Trojans go up against this Ohio State defense, or see what the corners back then would do to Jeremiah Smith, or see how Trevor Lawrence would play against that Miami defense,
Vince
or
Young,
Joe Burrow's
3,000
offense
yards, 1,000
go against
rushing
Miami
yards.
2001. Like
Yeah.
those are the
Jamal
games in your
Charles.
brain you want to put together. So
Man.
Mike kind of did it on
Michael
his own.
Huff.
He took his own assignment.
Yeah.
They ain't top 20.
Dude, yeah, I mean, that's your.
All right, they're going to
You're
talk
wrong.
Texas all day, but let us know in the comments, A, what you thought about our rankings. Are we crazy? I mean, 3 out of 4 of us put 2019 LSU as the number 1. Mike had them as the best team of all time.
Yeah.
Not just in the college football playoffs.
I mean, 732 points.
No, I'm aware. It's a good team.
732 points.
Let us know who's your
Smile all you
favorite
want.
college football playoff national champion team of all time. And where does Ohio State champion rank? Are they like at 8 where we have them? I guess all three of us have them at 8. And then you have them
little
at
higher.
4.
A little higher.
Let us know what you think. Drop a subscribe if you're new here. Stick along with us. We're talking college football and NFL all offseason, heading into the draft, heading into next season. We're going to give you futures, and we talk every game during the season. So lock in with us.
Bye.